we don't just want to talk about peace as this ideal, as this kind of out there somewhere and, sitting around the log fire. But we actually really, really need peace. And it struck me how much we actually need to build peace. This is not just a nice idea, but it's a requirement. I think if we look at the state of the world at the moment, we see all sorts of difficulties. We see all sorts of... I kind of don't want to list them almost because there are just so many awful things happening. Like, if we look at climate change, we need this. We need peace in order to tackle that. If we look at violent extremism, we need peace in order to tackle that. So I think when I was reflecting on what I might want to say today, I was thinking that actually if we look at the state of the world, one of the main things we need is a community of people working together in a peaceful way. And how do we build this kind of peace? I think because we need something stronger that holds us together other than the idea that we need to overcome this. We need to have a community of people who work together in a united way. But then I was kind of reflecting on that as well, and I was kind of thinking, well, how do we build unity? Because we're all different, right? I like veggie food. Yay for the veggie people over there. Hello, veggie people who are ignoring me? No? So I like veggie food. My husband loves his chicken. So, how do we combine that? And I think sometimes we see our differences a lot, and I think we focus on our differences. We might focus on our skin colors. We might say, well, I'm white. You're not white. You're different from me. We might say, we look at nationalities. I'm German. Probably most of you are not German. You're different from me. We might look at our economic background. We might look at our religious background. We might look at our language background or whatever, and we might find the differences. But I think if we actually want to learn about building peace and building communities and unity, maybe we need to start looking beyond our differences. So how do we start looking beyond those differences? Because they're so outwards, they're so obvious, they're so much out there, you see them. They're the kind of, skin deep things that just blow in your face. And it occurred to me that maybe what we need to do is we need to talk to, and maybe more importantly, we need to listen to each other and truly try to understand the other person, so that maybe we start not seeing them so much as the other, but maybe recognize that actually they have a lot of things in common with us. Because fundamentally, I think we kind of generally all want similar things. Sure, we might want the cake and you might want a coffee or something, but really, we want to live in a united world. We want to live in a peaceful world. I mean, I hope pretty much everybody here hopefully wants some peace, because you're at the Peace Festival. So what is it that prevents us from that then? Why is it so hard to build those peaceful communities and to kind of step across this boundary we have between us and the other? And I was asking some friends of mine, it was very, very interesting conversations that came up with this, and we were kind of reflecting together on what makes it so hard to build peaceful communities. And I think a lot of times, either it's the ego, it's the kind of, I don't want to expose myself. I'm going to make myself vulnerable if I step out of my comfort zone and acknowledge that maybe you're actually more like me than I maybe have thought. And maybe that makes me uncomfortable. Maybe that scares me. If I think that this person who looks so dissimilar from me, who's different in any way I could imagine, maybe I'm actually more like them than I would have liked to think. But maybe that little bit of vulnerability and that little bit of discomfort and feeling a bit odd about myself might actually help me to see the common and shared humanity. Because I think that's kind of what it comes down to, that we actually have a shared humanity. We're all, if you want to call it like that, we're all brothers and sisters. And I don't just mean that in a maybe esoterical way of putting this, but I think if we look at the state of the world, well, over there is my friend from America. She's just coming over from America, pretty much the other side of the world. Until a couple of weeks ago, I had a friend in the high Arctic, and going, I was texting her because I have WhatsApp on my phone, and I was getting pictures of icebergs on my phone. And I felt very kind of close to her, even though that she was pretty much as far away removed from me as I could imagine. So with things like the internet, with things like mobile phones, with, easy travel, we're kind of all growing closer and closer together. It's not, this far away anymore. My brother-in-law lives in Australia. you know, my mother-in-law is married to a Nigerian. You know, it's kind of a very small world by now. And so we are all interconnected. So where does peace come into this? If we keep looking at the other, and if we keep looking at our differences and all these obvious and maybe more subtle differences, we keep seeing the other. And I think if we really want to build peace that is lasting and that helps us to build unity so that we can start to tackle the problems the world is facing, from climate change to extremism to prejudices and anything that is wrong in the world at the moment, we need to build unity. So maybe what we need to start doing is to try to find an us that doesn't require us to define a them. Maybe we need to find ways to connect on a bigger picture. And yes, there are places where it might be good to go and encourage our governments to be champions of well-being and peace building. But I think we need to start with ourselves. We need to start by looking at what can I do in order to step across this little bit of discomfort and to acknowledge that this person over there who looks totally different from me and who has a different belief system from me and who I might not always agree with, but he or she is also a human being. And so I was kind of thinking, you know, what is it that in my day-to-day life, what can we do in order to build a little bit more peace? And I think the main thing that I came to the conclusion of what we need to do is that we need to see the other as a human being. And so next time that maybe we might start feeling angry, maybe we might want to remember the words of Abdul-Baha where he says, when a thought of war comes, oppose it with a stronger thought of peace. A thought of hatred must be destroyed by a more powerful thought of peace. Of love, sorry. More powerful thought of love. So next time you feel angry with someone, it might be a good time to remind yourself that they are a human being too. They also have their own story, their own desires and dreams and fears and wishes. And maybe that might help you to not be angry with them. And it might remind you also that not only do they deserve the love that we have in our hearts for all members of the human family, but you deserve that love as well. So you don't need to, you know, we all deserve the love. We all deserve to feel good and to be happy and peaceful. So thank you and good luck with trying to build peace, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Steph.
I'm Steph Greis, or Steph.
Somewhere right
I
now,
live in Leamington,
someone is
and I'm a
being
Baha'i.
born. How do you think that they